And it led to a big downfall. It led to almost a devastating downfall. It corrupted his marriage, corrupted his opportunities to be this, that, and the other, dragged away and enticed. Then after desire is conceived, watch the life progression that happens here. A desire is conceived, it gives birth to sin. Conception has to happen before birth happens. But conception happens with desire, and sin comes with the birthing or the acting out or the walking around in real life side of it. The actions of it all happen when sin has been given birth to. And watch this. Sin, when it is full grown or matures or becomes a habit or takes on its own life in that person, it ultimately leads to death. And so with Ananias and Sapphira, they were enticed at the time. At the time, they were thinking about selling the property, and maybe their motives were right and everything, but man, then comes that conception. And then the action of not giving it all in. The action of lying about it. The action of being disobedient to God. You might say, well, I was hoping that, the story would end different, that God would just, give them the proverbial slap on the wrist and say, next time. We all want that. We all hope for the next time. We all hope for the mercy part of the judge over our sin. We all hope for that. We don't want a righteous judge. We want a merciful judge. But God is both. God is both. And that shows of his character to us. And our expression to him is to say, my life is yours, fully and wholeheartedly. In situations, disobedience can lead to God's hand of protection being removed, which is an open door for the enemy. We talked about it last week, that sometimes it's a diversion, a distraction, but sometimes it's a destruction. For Ananias and Sapphira, the enemy wanted to take them out. The enemy wanted them to fail in all of their endeavors, fail in their walk with God. And sometimes disobedience removes the hand of protection. Those of us who have had small kids, we've told all of our children, don't take paper clips and stick them into the wall sockets. It's absolutely amazing that every parent still has to deal with that. And you can just imagine that you can tell them about what happens. You can tell them about the element heating up. You can tell them about the burns on their fingers. You can tell them about the charge that comes out of the wall. You can tell them about all those things. But sometimes that curiosity just takes over a kid, and you leave the room to go do something, and before you know it, they're bending that paper clip, and they're getting in there and looking to see if you're coming. And if that goes in there, buzz, and they're crying. It's happened to so many kids, maybe folks in this room. Maybe some of you just needed to be told over and over and over again, but that when you left the room or your parent left the room, that hand of protection left with you, and the decision to obey or disobey had with it what? Consequences. Consequences. Now, did you shock them? No. Can you be held responsible for everything after you've given the instruction, after you've given the direction, after you said what the consequences would be? Are you held responsible in the sense of maybe you should have tied their hands behind their back? I don't know, but you can still do that this way. But you didn't shock them. Their disobedience led them through that mindset to go ahead and try it on their own. They opened the door for problem through disobedience. Ralph, you can join me up here, my man. That would be awesome. Let me end everything with this. I want you to have a right approach to serving God. And the best way I can do that is to tell you a little bit of a story that's got some thoughts that I merged into it. But about 2 years ago, I was out doing lawn work, and we had a tree behind our fence line that had hollowed out because of age, and inside of it, a lot of big old bees decided to make, I mean a lot, I mean like millions. A lot of bees had made their home in that tree. And, we're in our yard, we can be in our yard and nothing will be a problem and we can be okay on our back porch and stuff. But when the vibrations of that lawnmower go right at the base of that tree, it seems to send those vibrations up through all of the nest and everything. And, I didn't know they were there the first time it affected me. And I went by with the lawnmower and I got dive bombed a little bit. Thought, wow, I didn't remember seeing them before, and turn around and go for the second pass and more come. I'm going, hey, this isn't good. Third pass by, I got stung several times in my own backyard from a tree that wasn't even really in my backyard. And when you get stung by a bee, and especially if it hasn't been a lot of years, you forget really how bad a bee sting really hurts. Oh, it's awful. And and I felt one on me, and I felt another, and it happened on my back and the back of my neck, and all of a sudden they were all around me, and I had excited and stirred up that whole nest, and I'm stepping it up a little bit with that lawnmower at that point, and trying to do everything and push and keep and it hurt. And then those stings, those wounds, they start throbbing. They start really, you just feel I've been attacked. Man, you sit there, you stay out of range, and you're seeing them. I'm not going back over there. My yard can grow a foot deep for all I care at that point. And I stayed away, and you feel the pain, and you try to fix them the best way you can. And some of the ways you can put ice on them and try to get that throbbing down and those wounds down. But I had a few bee stings on me at that point. I don't want to mow the yard anymore. You can get on the internet and click through and see what to do for bee stings. Are there some old wives kind of, recipes and stuff? You mix mud together or something, whatever. What do you do? And oftentimes when you get in a situation like that, you're seated at your computer throbbing with the pain. You know what the problem was. And the first things you read on the internet are how not to get in the problem. Don't wear bright colors. Don't wear perfume. Don't go and get in a zone where you can mess with the nest or deal with the nest like that. Well, duh. I shouldn't have sprayed on my polo and wore my neon green t-shirt and kicked the bottom of the tree. Now I know that. But I'm still throbbing under the pain of my violation of the beehive. All I know is I can't go back and not do some things. They're done. All I can do is hopefully remember those things for next time. What do I do about the pain I'm in now? How do I deal with the throbbing now? Because I hurt. It's no longer about guarding against. It's about making right what's happened. So you might be in this zone, you might be thinking, well, Pastor Aaron, all right, I like you. I'm here every week. Appreciate your teaching. But all right, now I know I've got a zone of disobedience in my life. And I walk around each day throbbing. I walk around each day and I understand that I wore bright clothes and perfume and I kicked the tree. I get it now. I get it, I got it, I know it. I've known it for a long time. Well, I'm here to tell you today, if those zones exist, there's a healer for you. There's a healer for those places. This message doesn't need to center strictly on, well, it was obvious you wore bright clothing. It doesn't need to rest on, you wore too much perfume by the bees. You probably already know that by now. What matters is what you do about where you're at right now. And Christ's answer is today what it has always been. And that's merely come.